Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning, good afternoon. Uh, my name is Eileen. I am the face of Strong, Wise, Good. And if you're new here, and I think you are, I'm new here. I think everyone's new here. But who am I? I am just someone who reversed the worst of her early Alzheimer's symptoms through changing her diet. Yeah. And I'm spreading the word because I think there are a lot of us out there that would prevent a lot of pain and heartache if we just got a handle on our diet. I want to spread the word that if you feel like you're slipping a little bit, it's not hopeless. There is something you can do. And I am not, well, I am just one story, but there are so many others that are with me that have found the same hope in changing their lifestyle habits in order to reverse their cognitive decline. Okay, so mostly what I talk about is food. I have a nutrition first philosophy, which is largely low carb, but it's not just low carb. But I'm not going to get into all of that today. Today, I want to state this plainly. Although I always talk about food, food is not the only thing. Food is foundational. That's my belief. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I am someone who did an awful lot of research trying to save myself, and I didn't believe I could. When my doctor asked me, yes, your symptoms are concerning, and how old was your mother when she developed the Alzheimer's? Oh, that terrible moment. That time when I decided I had to retire early because I couldn't trust my brain anymore. So because of my mother's experience, her last, I don't know, it's hard to say, 10, 12 years were just steady decline with the Alzheimer's. So I knew these things. I knew it was genetic. I knew that there was no hope. I knew that doctors will prescribe medications, but nothing helped, nothing except the kinds of medications that calmed her nerves at sundowner's time, right? And I was hoping for more than that. So there was no hope for my mother, and I believed there was no hope for me. But at the time I'd been teaching, so when school was out in June, I started researching what can I do. I can't get better. I know that. I'm not even going to try the medical route, but maybe there are things that I can do to slow the rate of my decline. I hung on by my fingernails. And there are many things that we can do. There are many things that we can do. Still, I always talk about food, and this is why. On the list of contributing factors to cognitive decline, you will find things like, well, I might as well own it, exercise. I was not doing enough exercise. I joined Planet Fitness right away that summer. Toxic exposure to toxic elements. I never lived in a smoggy town or city. I never worked with chemicals. I was never exposed to my knowledge, to anything other than the microplastics, right, that we're all exposed to and whatever they're putting in our food. But you get it. I never worked in a manufacturing plant. I worked with bankers and with children in a junior high school. No, middle school. We're showing my age. What else? Sleep. I was getting very good sleep, especially after I retired. And here's some big ones. Smoking. But I never smoked. Like maybe one cigarette at a keg party in the woods when I was a teenager. Oof. And, I might have, let's just say, tasted one of those funny cigarettes freshman year of college, but I never developed the habit for any kind of smoking or for any kind of illicit drugs. So, I mean, if you looked at social connections, I'm married, I've got 3 beautiful daughters, and 3 beautiful sisters and in-laws. We're a close, tight-knit family. Keeping your brain engaged. Well, I had a full-time job, when I was experiencing the worst of my decline. So check, 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 except for maybe not exercising enough, I was in pretty good shape. Oh, and I should say, and I wasn't overweight. I weighed 30 more pounds than this, and people still considered me on the slim side. So I was never close to diabetes or insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, I should say, or obesity. So overall, I was in great shape, but I wasn't. I was not in great shape. So there is another item on that long list of things that you might want to check off when you're trying to protect your brain, and one of them was food. I decided in July, right? I retired in June. In July, I decided I have to change my diet, and I spent a lot of time researching which diets and why, and there wasn't one right answer. There was a Mind diet, Mediterranean diet, Bredesen protocol. I looked into plant-based diet. I listened to stories from the carnivore world, and of course, keto. So what I started was probably closest to keto. It's evolved considerably, but I wasn't expecting a change. Just like I went to Planet Fitness, I didn't expect a change. I didn't find a change. But a couple months after changing my diet, I realized I wasn't leaving the burners on anymore. I realized I could leave the house and get to the car with my pocketbook, my keys, and my glasses. I'm not wearing them now, but I need them to drive. I realized I was not lost in conversations, not nearly as much. I'm not saying perfect, but there was a significant shift directly attributable to the change in food. So that's why I'm always going on and on about food. I don't know where you're watching this from. I'm going to try expanding my reach a little bit beyond the YouTubes. I'm mostly on YouTube. I'm trying to get onto Facebook a little bit more now. And in early days, I did talk about gut health, and I talked about exposure to sunlight, and I talked about the impact of the toxic elements in a lot of the sunscreens we're using every day, ladies. But in the end, for me, it was food. And for many, it's food. It's foundational. I think you can get just about everything else right, but if your food is inflammatory, if your diet is inflammatory, there's not much hope. But there is. There's so much hope, because simply by changing your diet, you can improve your health. You really can. I say simply, it is very simple. It is not easy. It is a tough start. But if you enjoy your life, it's well worth the effort. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for sticking with me. Are you still with me? Until next time, I'm going to try Thursdays at 3-ish. Thursdays at 3. I had a little late start today, but Thursdays at 3. And we'll talk about how to stay strong, wise, and good by eating real food for real health. Nutrition first.